Hello, Education 581, Education 200. Hope you're having a great week. Abe tried to give you a little break for me last week because I thought everything could be completed without the video. But because we're kind of starting to get close to the end, yay, I guess. Not that I haven't enjoyed the class, but I'm sure everyone's ready for the semester to kind of start to wind down. I wanted to make sure to get a video out. Couple things that I'm going to do. First part of this video is really just going to make sure that we're all on the same page. And then the latter part is actually going to be a little bit about Bloom's taxonomy, which isn't too complicated or anything like that. So for this week, we're going to talk about Bloom's taxonomy. We're going to talk about the Dewey discussion board, and we're going to talk about video discussion 11, which is optional, and I will explain that here in a few minutes. So, okay. So I'm actually in the 581 class section. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that up. But as you can see, there's everything that's going on. I'm going to go down to our week and just kind of start firing out some things that we need to all be on the same page with. One, someone had emailed me about the final. Actually, I should go back to the syllabus. Someone had emailed me about the final this week. Always good question. It's going to be very similar to how the midterm was. It's basically multiple choice, and I'll have a study guide out. I actually had the study guide pretty much done. I'm going to go over today. It's actually Sunday, the 14th, as I'm recording this. So this is going to go out to you all tomorrow. I will try to have that done. If I don't have it done by tomorrow, I will definitely have it out to you early this week. But you're welcome to use it and such. But the final's a few weeks away. So I don't feel the pressure quite with that to get that all to you right yet. But it's just set up. It'll be very similar to the last time, the midterm. But just so you know, you're kind of keeping an eye on it. It's the 6th through the 8th. I have to have them done. I can't give you the full finals week to get them completed, only because I have to get your grades completed, the overall grades. Also, I'll try my best. I might usually, if I have it ready to go, I'll open it a little early, the latter part of that week. Don't hold me to that, but I'll try my best to do that. So, finals week. What was the other thing I was going to tell you all? Oh, sorry, it takes me a minute to kick on it. Don't forget, it's right there, your service log and essay. You need those hours out in the field, the 10 hours. You need to submit your timesheet and you need to do the essay. Everything is up under assignments, but if you have any questions related to that, please let me know. You do have to have the 10 hours for this class to get the grade. That's part of your hours as far as they're called pre-service hours. So you want to get those done. You have to have those done before you do any type of student teaching, and those 10 hours actually do contribute to that. You'll start to, with 320 and 370, start to do more and more stuff actually out in the teaching field, but these service hours are actually included in that. So please, 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 please make sure you get those done and verified and signed. Remember, timesheets have to be signed by someone that can verify your hours. Think that is the big stuff. Since I'm in 581, someone else had asked the question. This does not apply to 200, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. If you were in 581, the graduate section of this class, you do have a paper. I thought I had said in one of the videos or one of the announcements, I have moved that back to the 29th. I know the syllabus has it on there as the 14th. That's why I never really harped on anything on that, because I thought I had said that. If I didn't, don't worry about it. I'll take it. I'm taking it on the 29th. Actually, yeah, that's Monday, so that's fine. Everything's up. And if you have any questions or if you really are in a time crunch, just email me. It's something that I can read, but the guidelines for the paper should be right there. So if you need them, that's just for 581 though. I think that is it. There's everything. And I'm going to go ahead and get into the week. Nothing too hot and heavy this week. Here's what we're going to do. As you can see, it's pretty short and sweet. One, all your discussion boards as far as the flip grids are technically done. You had to do 10. I have one up for an optional one. It's optional for points here. I probably should have labeled it discussion 11, but it's optional for points. If you want extra points, you can do it. I was going to get cute and pick one for you. I figure, you know what, there's a lot in there that you can read. I'd rather you just do something that you're interested in. If you want to do another flip grid for 10 extra points, do it. If you don't want to do it this week, no big deal. If you think you're comfortable with how many points you have for the class and you think you're tracking well, and just, you don't have to do it. But there's 10 extra points there if you want them. Again, optional. Um, the Dewey discussion board, it's a pretty straightforward one. Some of you might have this because of the editions of the book. I don't know which ones people have purchased, but if you have the 20th edition, I know the syllabus says 19th edition, but I think some people got the 20th edition also. Um, there's an article in there by Dewey. And what I did is it's just something on here. It's related to social experiences. And do you think that education should be based on social experiences? Pretty straightforward question. If you do not have that article in your Taking Sides book, fear not. I posted it up. This was actually something I already had saved. It wasn't even anything. This was from prior semesters, but the article is here. As you can see, it's by Dewey. Should schooling be based on social experiences? That's your Dewey discussion board, and you are welcome to check this article out. There's tons of stuff on the internet if you want to look around for it. Just want your opinion on the Dewey part. That's simple as that, and that's kind of our Dewey. I wanted to make sure you were introduced to some Dewey in 200, always at least a name recognition. Finally, there's the research paper for your 581 people. The big thing that I wanted to talk about this week, and I'm not going to get too bogged down on it because it's not an overly complex topic, but it is someone that I want you to be familiar with. Again, when you get into 320, you'll really probably do a super deep dive with him, but I think it's someone you want to be familiar with even now as you start to fiddle with like thinking about lesson plans and things like that. And that is Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is basically, well, let's just hit it there. It's basically, I like this webpage, that's why I pulled it up. It's basically a framework of the ways that students, how you should maybe approach your teaching and maybe compose your objectives and things like that. That's the easiest way I can say it. And actually, I kind of see it right there. It's basically how are you going to base your objectives, both just in your mind and on paper and lesson plans, how you're going to compose them and have students reach different levels of thinking. And what Bloom did, as you can see here, I'm going to click that. Hopefully it gets bigger. Yep. If you look here, he basically created a taxonomy or a pyramid, and it's been tweaked over the years. I don't know if you caught it. This was actually created in the 50s, but it's really developed over time. And basically what he's done is he's put it on this chart, and it goes remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, create. And basically, I'm doing it this way, but as you work your way up, the concepts are higher levels of thinking, so to speak. I guess that's the easiest way to say it. So when you're doing something down here, you're remembering, these are just simple recall facts. So when you write your objectives in your lesson plans, students will, SW, actually you'll hear this a lot, students will be able to, SWBAT, students will be able to define, as it says there, feudalism. Excuse me, hiccup. Students will be able to define feudalism. Then you can, if you want students to do something, students will be able to classify different types of cells. I don't know if that's really something you would do in science, but I'm throwing it out there. And then as you work your way up, like analyze, students will be able to differentiate or organize between different points of views. And then you get on here, students will be able to construct an argument related to the different sides of blah, 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 blah. That's what Bloom's taxonomy is. It's basically, you're going to use it to write your objectives. There are charts everywhere on Bloom's taxonomy. That's a list. We'll go off the rails here a little bit. Whoops, that's not what I want. Let's just get out of that. Oop. I think that site's from the University of Vanderbilt. Hopefully I don't have hiccup here again. Sorry. As you can see, here's a little more, and it breaks it down, but that's the original group. Knowledge is like your recall stuff. That's like your Jeopardy facts, I guess. And then by the time you get to the end or up to create, that's when you're going to start to have students develop things. But let me do this. I think this would help a lot. I'll just do an image. There are so many lists of things with Bloom's taxonomy. I figured I'll pull this up. Oh, there you go. These are lists, and like I say, the reason I'm bringing this up, when you start to compose your lesson plans for your other classes, um, I may have some of you in social studies methods down the road. These are a great way to start to compose the verb that you want your students to do in the activity. Students will be able to, and like I say, if you want them to understand something, paraphrase the meaning of this, or students will estimate, or students, that's, yeah, applying knowledge is a good one. Students will reenact um, a famous court case, or students will, you know, reflect on what this meant. I think you get the point, but there's just higher levels. You want to work your way up to that create. That's the big one. All are important though. These are the building blocks to get to here. And of course, I think this is what Dewey and people like that are thinking that we need to get through with experience, and that's what you'll get. But I am someone that believes that you got to have this to get to this. And I don't think that's anything revolutionary by saying that. But as you can see, there's a lot of info, and I'll put up a bio if you're interested in Bloom's, but that's the Bloom's taxonomy. It is, like I say, it's something that you definitely want to be familiar with, and there's a little more on it if you want to check it out. And it just breaks it down. But it is so important when you're writing your lesson plans and all. They're just verbs. Like when I say, when you're writing, you want those types of verbs in there. And Bloom's taxonomy just gives you a variety. You don't want too many. You don't want everything to be down here the whole way through a unit or a lesson. You want some of it to be up here, and you want to be able to evaluate and things like that. I know we don't write lesson plans in here, but he's just someone that you definitely need to be familiar with. And as you can see, here's a little more. Remember, recalling, understanding is interpreting, applying is executing or implementing something, analyze is, attributing, making those connections, evaluating is critiquing, and creating is producing something. So that's Bloom's taxonomy. It's not that complex, I don't think, at least as far as how you're going to use it in the field. I have a feeling what most of you will do is you'll probably have a chart, probably wherever you get hired might even give you a Bloom's taxonomy chart. I'm in my home office, but like if you ever want to see one, in my school office, I have a little wheel, and I can turn the wheel to different levels of Bloom's, and it has verbs. So when I'm writing lesson plans, or when I used to write lesson plans all the time, I could pull different things off of there. But just check it out. It's on there. He'll pop up on the final. There's no doubt about that. So it's someone you might want to just, he created a taxonomy of verbiage that you can use in lesson plans. So that's really it. There's not a whole lot that I want to, dive into. We're getting close to the end. Let me go back. Check out the things on there. Like I say, for this week, social experiment, Dewey discussion board, that's your last one. Discussion 11 is optional. If you're in 581, your research paper is due 29th. The overview of Bloom's taxonomy, you can check it out. If you're in 581 and you really think you're tight on time, just email me, and I'll try to be as flexible as I can with the papers. Don't forget, one reason why I don't have a lot going on this week, I want to make sure that everyone has time to get their 10 hours in. Please, if you haven't already, get those in. And when you do, you should be able to submit them. Let's go back and check. One thing I've learned with Brightspace, I have to make sure you can see it. There's a little, someone had emailed me, so just to show you my lame excuses, you can actually make it visible or not. There's an eyeball, and I think I didn't have it visible for a while. There's the timesheet, and I will make sure, I don't know if I have it on there. Research paper, that's for, let me look, I don't see it on there. So here's what we're going to do right now. Field reaction. Oops. So I know it's on there. And we'll do that. And you see where it has a little eye. sure. Um, sorry, should be make it visible, and now it should be visible. So there it is. If I didn't have it already on there, you should have it now. And the other thing that I wanted to make sure, two other things actually. One, I know some of you went to the Everything That You Know session back at the end of September, and some of you went to the KDP thing. Make sure I should be fully caught up with grades. I'm going to say this by Monday afternoon, Monday evening. I've actually set across some time to make sure that I'm pretty well caught up. If you don't see those points that I promised for attending those, just fire me an email. I missed it. I could give you a long excuse, but and I'm not going to do it other than I thought I had it in there and I probably didn't. So just fire me an email if you catch anything. I'm not going to pretend to be perfect. And I think that is mostly it. Don't forget your hours. Sub. Oh, Padlet. Someone had emailed me also about the Padlet assignment. I'm going to talk about that when you return. That's something you're going to do that week since we don't have a discussion board or Flipgrid. It's not hard, so it's no big deal. That's what you're going to do next when we come back. It's related to someone called Gardner. But for this week, check out Bloom's Taxonomy. Keep working on the field. If you have any questions, feel free to stop by my office. I'll be in Monday. I do have office hours Monday, 10 to 12, if you need to see me. Hope everything's going well. And I'm going to stop and say, have a good day, have a good weekend, and I'll see everyone in the near future.